Oh, we're doing it, folks. Ethereum showing some major signs that this might be its time to shine. And we might have Altseason right around the corner. Couple good weeks of gains against Bitcoin. Currently in extreme danger right now on a Bitcoin long position. Honestly, not really. It's just I would rather take more than 10% profits on this.
Yeah, of course.
So, we'll take a look at that. Look at the Bitcoin charts. Got a lot of deep conversations I had last night with an interesting fellow named Daniel. He's inside kind of the lobbying efforts and the government stuff. So I want to have him on the show because I'm an old school gold guy.
Yeah.
And he used to be a Bitcoin miner. He's talking about how powerful gold is compared to Bitcoin.
Interesting.
I had a lot of counter thoughts.
I can think of a couple.
Yeah,
off the top of my head.
Got that done. So we're gonna get into this and more on the show today. Welcome to the show, you guys. Blockchain Basement is where we get down and dirty with the blockchain, and also look at some of the most degenerate projects out there, some of the scams in life, some of the chaos in politics, and are we at the top? Right? Everyone's asking that question. Isaac, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been altcoin snooping. I might show something in the altcoin section.
Yeah.
I still got to do some more research
you found a new one that looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a new DeFi play.
Okay.
So we'll get into it later, possibly.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, feeling greasy. No, this is I got gel in the hair and I added to the punch and workout. I'm only doing punch and workouts until Vegas.
Fair enough.
Just straight up cardio. Added this, they got a speed bag in there now. So I added about 15-20 minutes of that as a warm-up. Feeling absolutely amazing. Welcome, World War 208, talking about Fent reactors. Chris Tapia, DeFi Crypto and Airdrops veteran crypto. Good to see you, man. I still got to hit him up to get that Morpho to work for me, an Aerodrome. This last weekend, too, Chris. I'll hit you up about it. Crypto Stevo, Drew Gel Coin. Crypto Stevo is literally out there making Solana meme coins at will. Right
just because he wants to and he has the money to do so. It's like, I'm gonna make a DC coin. We're gonna make everybody else a coin.
Yeah. More power to him. More power to him. Ducey does sufficient enough. Good to see my folks that were hanging out with us in the new Discord this morning. Me, Kelly, Isaac. I think it was Ducey was in there. This is a Bitcoin Way. A couple more folks. Moxie, I think is his name. Good to hang out, people. Gonna have that one-on-one focus in the mornings and get all of the feel of the market of the day figured out together as a family, right? If you aren't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter. We did send out the latest winner's gift package.
We did?
Yes, we did. He's getting quite a gift package. So shout out to you. I think his name is Scotty Mac.
I think so.
This is a good question. This is for ICP bag down bad. ICP bags down bad.
Here we go.
55%. Dude, this is why they can't rally, is because they're down so bad, All right.
Get out of ICP. I can't. I just can't.
It's a nuanced conversation here. ICP bag down 55%. Hold or trade for more Aerodrome or Wormhole. We'll look at that. I actually have some interesting thoughts on that. Thank you for the super chat as well. But if you aren't following me already on Twitter, go ahead and do so. I'm at Druth Crypto here. This is where I'm always sneaking into spaces. Sometimes I host for Mario as well. You always find some interesting content coming out of there. Where are the markets as they sit right now? Still pretty well up on that long. 1034. Oh God, you weren't in Colorado. 1035, the Fox. That used to be like the best radio station in Colorado. Uncle Nasty. Uncle Nasty actually promoted our band.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. That's pretty dope.
Uncle Nasty. That was amazing. All right. So now let's see here. What do we got? Bitcoin at 103.35 or 103.4, just about. XRP 255. Salami coming here at 177. Really not that bad of prices across the board. Chainlink sitting here battling this new 17 spot. Avalanche trying to break them beyond the $25 a unit level. And Avalanche, Chainlink, and Sui, the battle continues for that spot within the top 10. And honestly, like Chainlink and Sui are, in my opinion, in the top 10 because I don't count USDC or Tether, the stable coins. So Sui and Chainlink currently holding a position within the top 10 at the lower part of it. Avalanche trying to break on in there. Stellar, all those movements. And all the RWA hype, Stellar's only got 18% on the week. That's something interesting. Shiba Inu coming back 24%, and Hedera H-bar put up some good numbers on the week, 19% on the week. Not bad at all. H-bar is actually one of my wife's favorite projects in her portfolio. It's held up the best during the big pullback. It's like Bitcoin and H-bar for her are doing real good. And then Picoin. Is today the day I jeet my pie? Maybe.
I don't know. We've talked about cheating that thing for a long time
I
now.
like talking about cheating it, though, because it's a
know.
scam. If I cheat it, then there's nothing else to talk about.
But you could talk about how you cheated it.
Only like
and how you
once.
made money off of a scam.
Dizzy's like, yes. What up, Sean? What up, all these new peeps here? Hyperliquid hype coming in with green across the board here on the hourly, the daily, and the weekly. Toncoin, slight movement on the week. Honestly, this is pretty muted. What I'm paying attention to is everything with the double digits gains on the week, looking juicy. Dogecoin up here with 36% on the week. That's a big move. Let's take a look at where the Bitcoin price chart is right now. It got a little 15-minute green dot print on the momentum wave. It keeps bouncing. I think we've established a pretty clear range in terms of trading for Bitcoin over the last month or two here. So this purple line, I'm considering the low, the area low for our current range. Basically, right at where I got this long end is looking like the midpoint around 102.7. And then the high end is pretty damn clear here at 104.5. So if you are trading with me on LBank, you know what? And also, a lot of people are confused. All you have to do is sign up for LBank, get your user ID, and you got to sign up through our link in the description. You get the user ID and send it to us at office@hitnetwork.com. Then you get access to the trading room within the new Premier Discord,
which is where we were hanging out this morning.
Right. So that's all you got to do. Doesn't cost anything. If you want to just get signals and trading, what me and Kelly are thinking on the daily, go on ahead and do that. Where can you jeet pie? I think Mexi was one spot. What was the other spot that we were looking at where I could jeet it?
That's a good question. I can't remember, but I know for a fact that I talked about Mexi when we were talking about dumping it.
Yeah, and Ducey's correct. You can submit that user ID for LBank directly in the Discord.
Yeah.
The Discover Investments Group Discord.
I want to see where you could dump this pie token real quick.
I know it's Mexi is one of them. So here's basically the range for Bitcoin trading, and honestly, like, I'm remaining stubborn. I think that the weekly green dot, the money flow, is going to end up playing out pretty similar to what we've seen 2 times past when we've seen this signal come up. We've only had it 3 times total since September of 2023. So I am still trading under this general thesis here. That thesis brings us up to here. I'm leaving room for a little bit of a short-term washout, which is why I'm keeping the stops. So I'm not trading with the whole bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they get wiped out, like it doesn't wipe me out. It's kind of crazy. I did the portfolio, the sneaky. Well, it's not really sneaky, but it's gated, where I'm giving all my info on where my portfolio is in the Discover Investments group on my portfolio page. And Tether is actually number 2.
Nice.
I went through all my exchanges, and Tether is number 2, right behind Chainlink as far as the altcoin bags. So not going bad. What up, BitLab fam?
Yes, you could dump your pie tokens on LBank.
On LBank too?
Yeah, my bad. Steve, everyone in the chat was like looking at it, but I was like being blind. I couldn't see it. It's literally on here on CoinMarketCap. It says LBank.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
My lord.
Jeet that hoe.
That's easy.
That's why I said so.
All right. I like it. Now, let's see here. I want to go over to now. This is a story Isaac pulled that I didn't delete.
Oh wow! Look at me.
This is huge.
My training has been paying off.
Yep. Bitcoin weekly MACD just confirmed a bullish crossover in previous cycles. Of MACD bullish cross was followed by strong upward momentum in Bitcoin's price. This is kind of in congruence with that green dot printing. It's a confluence of a lot of RSI movement, but then also the MACD flipping into the bull zone where you got the green dominating the red. Those end up, on a macro, if you're looking at this on the weekly chart, they really, really do play out nicely. Dump pie on LBank using a referral. That's right, baby. That's right. And I'm getting a lot of questions. That's all you need is your LBank user ID from clicking the link in our description, you get access to hanging out, asking pointed questions to me, Isaac, DZ, Kelly, TJ. TJ was even in the chat or in the chat room this morning. It was awesome to see. Now this guy, Bitcoin Ben, Florida's wildest trucker, comedian, just broke down why America's headed for chaos, poor versus the rich equaling a powder keg. Trump potentially secretly stacking Bitcoin. I don't think it's really it's not really a secret per se. There's a lot of large scale treasury movements that have to happen before we can actually actively buy. And fuck off money is the only escape out of what's coming here. I'll give this a little bit of a listen, but really there's some things I want to add on to it after we get done listening to just the front end here.
There's a whole lot more poor people than there are rich people.
Yeah.
And if we aren't helping the poor people, they're just going to eat the rich people. And unless we want a civil war, and I mean a legit, like Lincoln civil war.
We definitely don't want that.
No. Then what we need is, and I think this is what Trump's doing. Trump is going to recapitalize America using the Bitcoin.
I hope he does, yeah.
I don't hope nothing. If you look at what he's actually doing, it's exactly what you would do if you were going to recapitalize the system.
So I don't really think Trump is recapitalizing the system to save the lower guy, the little guy. Hot take. I mean, he'll do tax movements, maybe. But even that, like getting income tax gone, that's a big thing. Recapitalizing, though, there is something to think about. We're sitting on a gold reserve that's supposedly there, right? We haven't even gotten the gold audit done yet, right? So the gold might actually not even be in Fort Knox, which would be very, very bad, by the way.
Like very, very good at the same time.
Well, no, I mean, it would crash markets across the board for
some time.
It would be bad. But the gold that they're sitting on, I think it's like 800,000 tons or something like that. It's massive.
Yeah, sure.
They're valuing it at $42 an ounce on the books when it's sitting here at like $3,400 an ounce. So if they do reevaluate the gold like they did in the 60s and 70s, because the 60s, 70s, they did like a $35 up to a $40, an ounce, kind of rebalance the balance sheet of the treasury, so then they could print more money against it. This is what I was talking to that Daniel guy last night about.
Yeah.
It is potential that if the gold is indeed there, which I hope it is, that the revaluation brings, just about $1 trillion of whoops, we forgot we had that money to the United States, and they utilize a chunk of that to purchase the Bitcoin with. Just a thing to think about here. Recapitalizing is more like redesigning the monetary system, and I don't think it's going to go help the poor people. I really don't.
Yeah.
That's the pessimist in me. But like, as long as the Fed exists, that's it. I like this. Joke's on you. Fart coin will be the new global currency. Woo! Jesus. That would be a stinky situation. Absolutely. Fart coin taking over. Don't you? Oh my God.
Nice.
Damn it, Isaac. All right. It looks like we're going to Steak and Shake on Friday.
That was great.
They're launching the Bitcoin burger on Friday. And this is their little stamp, their die stamp of a Bitcoin burger that they kind of put into the burger. But they're going to cover it in like ketchup and all this stuff. I don't get it. Maybe it's the bun. Maybe it's the bun that they're going to do this.
As long as Bitcoin is stamped into my burger, I think I'll be good.
Yeah. So we're going to go get some of this. And Steak and Shake, I'm going there because they're going to stamp a Bitcoin somewhere on the burger. And it's going to be great.
Do you think they'll do it to me? Like they'll just put it on my arm or something?
You could get branded.
I'll get branded by Bitcoin.
Yeah.
See, that's a good
thing. Like have them leave it on the grill and just right in there. When I moved here and started working here, I had a Bitcoin shaved into my skull.
Yep, I remember you telling me that.
Yep. Who cares bullish behind 7-Eleven raw? Next question. That's a lot. That's a huge statement in one sentence. I really, this battle of who's the best burger, it rages on. But Steak and Shake is winning me over. I will say this, not only because Isaac's ex-girlfriend works there and she yelled at me over the amount of
barbecue sauce you could have.
Right.
And I flipped her off with both of my hands in the drive-thru.
Yeah. I mean, that counts for a lot.
It does count for a lot.
But also they're being bullish on Bitcoin. Sean thinks Five Guys. I mean, Five Guys is good.
That's just gay.
It's kind of like annoying to pay $20 for a burger. You know, Culver's won last time. Culver's.
Yeah. But what? Who else is having Bitcoin burgers? Okay, not Culver's.
That's true.
Not Five Guys. Steak and Shake.
That's true. Oh yeah, Vet was on the phone with me.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We were literally talking to Vet while we're doing that. That was so funny.
Oh my god. All right, so now there's a little bit of a war going on in TradFi between Michael Saylor and his cohort Larry Fink and Jack Mallers and the leader of the Strategic Sovereign Wealth Fund, Mr. Lutnick, Howard Lutnick, and Jack Mallers of 21 Capital and Tether, buying 4,800 Bitcoin for just about $500 million.
Just $500 million.
They're getting started on the stack. They got a long way to go, but this benefits our bags because they are competing for, as it sits right now, spot Bitcoin, right? The more we get married to TradFi, though, and again, this is the pessimist in me, they're going to use synthetic derivatives and representations of Bitcoin to sell on Wall Street. And it exists to a degree, but at least there's some, backing for the most part that's kind of proved to be there when companies are selling representative Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
But the more that we get entwined with this system of constant debt and paper representation, the further we fall from the crypto ethos. And I was even sitting in an ICP Maxi lounge space.
Oh, God.
And they were talking about how important it is to have regulations, because if regulations come down, it'd be bad for Solana and good for ICP. That's how short-sighted some of this market, some of these people are. Is that sad or what?
That is pretty depressing. If you think that, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just retarded.
It's like wishing the cops would come arrest your neighbor
for something you did.
What
kind of?
I mean, no, not even hoping that they come after your neighbor for, having free speech and yelling like "F the police" or something like that, so that you can have more room to say "F the police" because they're not there doing it. It's just the weirdest thing. JP. Oh my God. And then, here's the thing. They're talking about the derivative representation of Bitcoin. The US has delayed the decision on allowing in-kind redemptions for BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF, trying to keep it on paper representation. And I just don't trust it. I don't trust the system to act responsibly with Bitcoin. Sure, it's good for our bags in the short term. Long term, in recapturing humanity's dignity through getting out of the control of central banks. And this is where I almost got banned yesterday.
That's okay.
The design of monetary theory through certain sects that have been in control. This takes away our ability to usurp them, to take them over, right? So it aggravates me to a degree, to a large degree. I understand it. But, with all this Bitcoin movement into ETFs, we actually are seeing something kind of interesting. Ethereum to Bitcoin volume is flipping, and the outflow data is suggesting that we're about to see a great rotation into Ethereum accelerate, which, you know what? Let's go look at it.
Sure thing.
Let's go look at it. Let's go look at ETH to Bitcoin. And then I'll also cover why I feel like everyone thinks that the market's busted or there's no Altseason and stuff. I'll cover that next. But Ethereum over the last 2 to 3 weeks has put up at Pico top 50% gains against Bitcoin, which is at $100,000 a unit.
Mm-hmm.
Ethereum only needs to rally to its previous level and then get jeeted back down. Look at this. All Ethereum needs to do is rally to this previous level against the backdrop of Bitcoin continuing to rise, and that's a $6,000 Ethereum right there.
That's not bad.
And it's not bad. You know what I mean? And it'll probably, overperform to a degree, but I really do feel like it's going to at least hit this level. And these are why the pairing charts, if you are heavy into altcoins, are super important to keep an eye on during especially the alt season. Because, you know, there is control that Bitcoin is exercising over the rest of the market when you look cycle over cycle, and understanding when you are hitting historic levels of, you know, particular coins dominance to Bitcoin, it's a great time to take profits.
Amen.
So, and no one goes, you know, when the altcoins go back down 90%, no one is going to be there for you. They don't care. Look, like the ICP's out there, they're toiling. Okay. Dom for ICP is out there cutting cakes. He's having parties. He's dancing around. Meanwhile, ICP is in the trenches, and their people can't rally because they're down so bad. There is no hope, right? So when they're like, alt season is a season. It is seasonal. And when you do ride those alts back down to historic lows, no one's going to be there to help you. So it's up to you to take profits, and up to you to hold on to the pairing charts and pay attention to them every damn week. It really is. That's why I like covering Bitcoin first and foremost. And it's a short season as well, as Crypto Stevo suggests. It absolutely is. You're a fool for 80, 90% of the time, and then you're a genius for 10% of the time. When you're a genius, let it cook a little bit in the oven and then take the profit, right? The whole goal is to be stacking at lows and selling at tops. Now, Coinbase wrapped ADA. Doge, Litecoin, and XRP is apparently coming soon. These assets are not yet available, but they're going to announce this launch at a later date. What were you saying, Isaac?
Unfortunately, we saw when it did Coinbase wrap Bitcoin. You know how that when they implemented it, with every other projects did really well. Now that we're seeing Coinbase wrapped ADA, Doge, Litecoin, XRP, we're most likely going to see some pretty significant bumps for each of these projects here.
I mean, maybe,
possibly. I mean, I feel how the narrative is.
How about this? It might give them a longer tailwind after they pump from just basic retail FOMO. But there is not a lot of Coinbase wrapped ADA I see coming out of this, or Coinbase wrapped XRP.
I can get behind that. But I was just, narrative for the Coinbase.
The reason why I was so bullish for Bitcoin is because Bitcoin leads the markets. It rises to like, 120, 150. And then people want to take the loan out or some of the liquidity out, but then hold the Bitcoin still. I don't think the same thing can be said. Like, let's say you rise a bunch in Cardano. You're not going to take a bunch of USDC out against your Cardano to go speculate on everything else.
Fair enough.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't, personally. I'm cheating that thing. The Bitcoin show. You know what? I just want to be very, very honest with you guys, because I don't want this crowd to round trip into the middle of 2026 and have a bunch of cope.
Thanks for wrapping my brain, by the way. I needed that. I needed that little punch in the throat.
Oh yeah. No, I mean,
everyone needs it. A good punch.
I did it in a nice way, though.
A good punch in the throat gets you very, very far in life. Okay, take it from me. I get punched a lot.
Jay's gonna wait till 20. It's gonna be 2037. ADA will have its time. God damn.
The same people with ICP saying 2050.
Now ADA's not down bad like ICP is.
No, not at all.
Now this is like a match made in heaven for me. Okay. Hold on. Look at this.
Oh, beautiful.
The mullet, it's very similar.
Nice.
He's got the handlebar thing going on. I got the goat going on. Morpho Labs and the DeFi mullet. It's like a match made in heaven for me. They're talking about the DeFi mullet, Coinbase in the front, DeFi in the back. And this is the design where you got the complex mechanisms of decentralized finance in the back end, giving the loans out, handling the pool, all this crap that's happening in the background. But the front end is this nice, clean cut product, just like a mullet. It looks, I look normal. And then you get behind me at a gas station and you know that I have a gun on. Right? That's how it goes.
That's what you want to look like, though. You want to look like you have a gun on your head at all times.
Well, we're in, I had one on me anyways, even in Boulder. That is what it was. Oh, yes. I love hearing this. Yeah, buddy, is still up on ICP. I'm up on ICP still. Would you hold long or trade into something different? And if so, what would you flip it into? I really like the fact that you're up on ICP. Very well played, not top blasting.
Congrats.
First of all, yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. ICP, let's look at ICP. Let's look at ICP. I'll share the tab. I know, Isaac. So, because ICP was messing around in like the top 20 realm. It was like I'm going to fight to top 10. And I think it's really far down here. Okay. So it's now number 37. God, it is full.
Jeez.
So you're gaining, you got double digit gains on the week. So that's good. Okay. Again, excellent job not top blasting, bro. Fucking love. This dude is up on this thing with this. That's savage. Really, I could see ICP at least going and messing around in the 10 to 15 range again during this alt season. $30 is kind of like the hopium. Let's go look at the parent chart to see when you cheat, because you might, like, honestly, my wife has some ICP. I am completely out of ICP. For my own reasons. But I think ICP, if it does work, it's next cycle when you have the Giga movement. And all the people that are like, oh man, when everyone starts developing on our project and the canisters start getting burned, that's when the real price appreciation happens, right? They're trying to literally take over the entire infrastructure of the internet. Maybe it works next cycle after we do these few tests, like the tests that we see on our later news with Ondo and Chainlink. Maybe after a few years of successful tests, that does happen. But it's not happened in this cycle. Yeah, I could see ICP having a rally against Bitcoin. And this is 0, by the way. This is a 0. And that's negative, just under it. I could see it like rallying against Bitcoin, but 100%. That's a great move against Bitcoin in a short amount of time. And then everyone's gonna be like, oh, the next great internet design protocol is here, ICP. And you can be laughing because if you're already up on your hold, dude, I mean, you can win hard. You can win hard. If your average entry point is like $3 or something like this, $4, you'll have your moment in the sun. You might fall even further before you get it. It depends on how big the bag is. If it's a substantial amount of my bag, let's say like 10, 15%, I'm chopping that thing up into Ondo, Morpho, Aerodrome, the mixture. If it's not, and it's like a 1 to 5% thing, I'd let it ride.
Yeah.
That's how I would play that type of situation.
Want to get into this sneaky altcoin pick?
Oh, yeah. But highlight what Crypto Steve said. The vision and the goal of ICP is awesome. And I completely agree. But it just is hard to see it being feasible. That's all we're trying to say. Okay? Because you're trying to like usurp the entire monetary system. Or not the monetary, the internet system. Those are it took a long time to build out that infrastructure. All right. Isaac, what do you got? What do you want to cover here?
It's called BounceBit. I just want to take a look at it. I want to get your thoughts on
BounceBit. Is it on CoinMarketCap?
It is on CoinMarketCap. It's a C DeFi, and it's a pretty cool platform.
Is it BBTC?
It's BB.
Just BB?
Just BB. BounceBit.
Okay.
Around a $90 million market cap.
All right. Let's see if I can find it.
Pretty.
BB. All right. Here we go.
Been out for a month too.
A month?
A month.
This is fresh off the press.
This is fresh off the press. I found it this morning. I was snooping.
Okay.
I also sent it to Vet because I know he's all on the DeFi stuff. So.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it's been out since it looks like July at least. Let's go to the all time.
Or did I say a month? It's been July. It's been a year. My bad.
Yeah.
I was looking at a different one. That was a month.
It's been a year. This looks like Wormhole's chart.
Kind of.
And I mean, God, I think it even looks like Aethers. So BounceBit down 62% all time. Jeez. Max supplied 2 billion tokens, circulating is 5, so there's some to come out. There's a reason for VCs to hype it up. Let's look at the token unlocks. What's that?
Just the computer.
So the ecosystem gets 14%, the foundation, validator delegations get 35, advisors get 5, 35, 5, and then the team gets 10%, investors get 21. Okay.
Team is fully doxed.
Team is fully doxed?
Documentations.
Okay.
Socials are all good.
Okay.
That's also doing some.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have a hot and heavy season of unlocks. There's a lot of reasons for VCs to pump it in seasons like this. I do like that it's new. Like, I get worried about inflationary pressures in graphs like this if a project is in its second season.
Fair.
Or third, especially in its third. Because then, like, the lights are starting to dim. The extraction that could have happened from the VC has been done. Kind of interesting here. Let's look at this. So we're going to dive a little bit more.
It's on Solana and Ethereum.
It's on Sol and ETH?
Yeah.
Okay. Bounce Pit to broaden RWA offerings in partnership with Centrifuge. Okay, so they're taking the Centrifuge route. Let's go here. Pioneer platform of CDeFi infrastructure and RWA integration, yada. They're moving in with Centrifuge, which is a pretty big deal for RWAs. Centrifuge has a good little footprint on RWAs. Company strengthening asset manager, yada. Bounce joins forces, yada. Okay. All right. So a good partner to start off with Centrifuge. I'm not hating what I'm seeing so far. Let's see here. You know what? We're going bubble maps it.
When a bubble maps it. And I was basically highlighting this because one of their platform and they had good yields and they had a pretty good project behind the token.
Oh, yeah?
Not as much as I'm buying the token. I might get a little bit. Not sure yet.
Okay. So it's like a useful tool.
Yeah.
Look at that. Unknown to bubble map. How's this? 34%?
Probably a pool.
Yeah, probably a pool. Okay. Let's go to the X. I'm snooping around on this. Did I just kill my thing too?
Yeah, you did.
Well, I'm going all over the place, Isaac. You got me looking at something new. I kind of like it. I don't hate this. All right. Bounce Bit. I got 276,000 followers. A couple of homies I know follow this.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Chairman Atkins, yada. There's highlighting RWA bullishness. How many likes? Like 56 likes. Here's a problem. You got 256 some odd thousand followers, and you got 56 likes on their post about really bullish news.
Who knows?
Okay. Well, and it's a platform, right? Let's see here.
Yeah.
Bouncebit.io. This is weird. Launch portal. All right. What do we got here? Staking levels for all their different assets within it. RWAs. Bouncebit Prime. Institutional grade yield solutions for okay. It's kind of like a launch pad, makes it easy to get access to yield.
Yep.
I don't hate this.
I don't either.
I don't hate this. The more that this yield is accepted, I don't hate that at all. So go here. Let's look at the dashboard. Assets under management, about $500 million. Payouts at $4.5 million. 6,000 Bitcoin staked. Okay. Revenue's looking good. Shit. Deposit durations they give this. Total earnings per user. Yeah, this is very interesting. Because it's easy to use. It's a nice user interface. The idea of yield, a lot of people are going to be chasing that around. It is a centralized location, as I think if someone mentioned in the chat, Celsius. I got burned on Celsius.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't hate this. I wouldn't expose too much to this. Like, I'm not putting my whole bag if I were messing around on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll keep an eye on it.
Some new, some low
Yeah,
cap.
I mean, it's something new. I like you bringing up.
I got bored
something
when
like
gem
this.
hunting. So
And it's a very low price.
16 cents.
Yeah.
90 mil market cap.
Yeah, this is
Could be a
this kind
little
of feels like
sneaky
a
grab.
good find.
This is like,
This is giving me vibes when you found Drift.
yeah. Also, I was about to say that, but I didn't want to be like, this could be like another drift call, but then and not do anything.
Yeah. And then not do anything.
Yeah.
That's the way we live, bro. All right. Now, moving on to the rest of this stuff. Where is Bitcoin at, first of all?
That's a great
I'm gonna
question.
look at this for my own monetary reasons. 103.2, still up. All right, that's great.
Not bad.
All right. So now we have covered the DeFi mullet in depth. We found a little sneaky pick of Isaac's. People are misspelling Ethereum in Google Trends as well.
Great. So we're retarded.
Yeah. Well, we are not, but this is new people to hear Ethereum. They spell it with an I. And so when we see a lot of inflows of people misspelling Ethereum with an I,
Retail.
noobs, right? Not just retail.
Not
Total
losers. Noobs.
Yeah, be nice.
My bad.
You're gonna have a whole flow of these people coming in, and you gotta be welcoming.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very welcoming. My apologies.
Next question: if you had $1,000, what would you put it on? 30x leverage, no balls. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I'm not.
200x leverage.
The last thing I bought was Morpho. Actually, I bought a stock yesterday.
Did you buy that suppressor?
No. So Vet sent me a link. They have not Vet, Manawak. Manawak has the universal suppressor. I want one of those. So I'm going to source that one out first. I'm not going to buy one for a specific round. You know what I mean? Good to see retail coming back. Isaac, you're going to have to play nice. As they grow, the channel will grow.
That's true. I'm here to teach you everything I know.
Yeah. Sufficient Enough has one. See? All the cool kids have one.
I need to get one done.
Looks like Kevin O'Leary got some big news because he was big on WonderFi. Robinhood is acquiring WonderFi.
Nice.
He's very excited for obvious reasons. You know what? Kevin O'Leary, let's have a watch of this. This guy kind of cracks me up a little bit. Oh, it gets smaller when I do that. Let's do this.
This is going to change the FX trading market forever.
Robinhood is buying the Canadian crypto firm WonderFi. Okay, tell us how much.
179 million, a 41% premium to the previous closing price.
Well, you know who the owner of this thing is.
Truly.
You've got a big piece of this, haven't you?
I was one of the founding shareholders of WonderFi. My investment thesis was own all of the exchanges in North America, including Coinbase, including Robinhood, and including WonderFi. They're unifying a cross-border crypto just before the stablecoin. This is going to change the FX trading market forever. It's going to
See, I like to pick on him when he says something stupid, but he mentioned something. It's the stablecoin bill is a big deal for exchanges to get moved forward. And when he kind of just does a shotgun movement on ownership of as many exchanges as possible, it's basically what I do with DeFi on Base. Works out pretty good. Then I find the ones that cook the hardest and I pour more into those, and those keep going. So it's very, very interesting to see Robinhood. Had to get a lip dinner in. Robinhood absorbed this, and WonderFi is the Canadian version.
Yeah.
It's like a Canadian Coinbase. So he's got a big win. And the shotgun movement on, it's like the conversation, even down to altcoins, is, a lot of people want to buy a specified altcoin that does one particular thing, or you could buy an altcoin that, say, like Chainlink runs all the data from one spot to the next, or something like Virtuals, that is the AI agent launchpad. And then you're not having to bet on one specific project, but rather the ecosystem and the expansion of that narrative. And then you're more likely to capture pretty good gains along the way. Just an easier way to farm. Coinbase Duck giving me some alpha. This guy calls stuff early. And I saw this post. This is some hopium for Velodrome. He said of many times in the past, the future of the super chain, all connected, Aerodrome can scale vertically within its specified ecosystem on Base. Velodrome scales horizontally, right? Both are needed to bring the world on chain. Velodrome my wife is angry at me for us picking up Velodrome when it was at a point that I thought it was going to hold, and then the tariff thing happened, and it did not hold. I think she's down like 40 or 50% on that little bag.
That's nothing.
I think it's going to be fine, though. It's going to have its time in the sun. You just have to be patient in crypto. You know, it is what it is. But Velodrome having the aspect of being able to scale horizontally, not just vertically within the specific ecosystem, is going to be very, very, very important. Oh, God. Crypto Steve-O. Isaac definitely scales vertically.
And thrust horizontally.
Yes. Oh, Lord. All right. This week, we got AVAX Avalanche Summit in London, the premier gathering for visionaries shaping the future of blockchain Web3. They're going to be joined by Connexus, JP Morgan, Tom Nex, and Libercap. They're seeing a lot of involvement with crypto through like Ondo, Chainlink, and AVAX with Connexus and JP Morgan, which is surprising because JP Morgan developed their own internal Onyx blockchain. And now they're starting to rub elbows with some of the bigger players in the altcoin space, some of the bigger players in the RWA space. So we're going to check this out. It's going to be the London Avalanche Summit, May 20th to the 22nd. Very, very interesting. Good for Avalanche to be getting those connections. Avalanche is a sleeping giant, I think. Now Chainlink with this announcement. It looks like we got Ondo Finance talking, Connexus and JP Morgan and Sergey literally over the last 20 or 30 minutes. Panel with the DTCC, JP Morgan Fireblocks and Sergey. And then a panel with Wisdom Tree as well as JP Morgan, Aave. It's all like one big club. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
You see a lot of overlapping names in this. You see a lot of Ondo, a lot of Chainlink, a little bit of Avalanche, JP Morgan. And Wisdom Tree is a massive one. And then Aave, right? And it's all, think back to the World Liberty 5 bags.
Mm-hmm.
Something to think about. It's almost like Trump knew.
Yeah.
It's almost like his sons knew. But $4 trillion asset manager JP Morgan has officially settled its first public transaction of tokenized treasuries on Ondo, of all places. And they utilized Chainlink to finalize the transaction. When we talk about the giga plays, the things that'll actually have the potential to literally 100x even from where they're at right now, seeing stuff like this, where JP Morgan is finalizing a movement on the treasury market on the Ondo blockchain using Link, I don't think a lot of people understand how small our market is and compared to the treasury derivatives markets. We are literally still a toenail on the elephant of what money is. And we think we're this big deal because we're a couple $1 trillion. We start seeing treasuries slung back and forth. We start seeing derivatives slung back and forth. We start seeing the infrastructure of Wall Street be put onto this thing. Stupid.
Crazy rich.
We just have some further notes. Chainlink, they're celebrating this, and rightfully so. Rightfully so that they're celebrating. Another person celebrating is Trump. Celebrating another $1.2 trillion in economic commitment from Qatar. This dude is straight up flipping the script on its head when it comes to American relations with the rest of the world. Setting up long-term massive investment plans with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, distancing himself from Netanyahu, right? These are things that a lot of people didn't see coming. I knew that he was going to put a stop and a hold on the war to a degree, but he hasn't gotten the war ended. That's still negotiation. But he is building the rails to basically usurp China and their economic control of their production and setting up deals with sheik money. You know what I mean? Like, that's a pretty big deal. And a lot of people, we were talking yesterday, is the mainstream media going to cover this? Well, it looks like I got to give credit where credit is due. CNN came out, and there you happen.
U.S. inflation slowing, I should say, to its lowest rate in more than 4 years. That, according to April's Consumer Price Index report. It's an unexpected and very welcome development that's defying economists' expectations amid President Trump's ongoing trade war. Let's go live right now to CNN business and politics correspondent Vanessa Yurkevich, who's watching all of this in New York. Vanessa, walk us through this morning's report. Where do things stand?
Encouraging signs with inflation continuing to move in the right direction, cooling on an annual basis to 2.3%.
Well, I thought the economy was going to crash if we did tariffs. So that's what they told us.
Yeah.
That's what Jim Cramer said.
He's
you know,
never wrong.
Remember Black Monday and that damn tariff day or whatever?
Liberation Day?
Yeah, Liberation Day.
Yeah, it was great.
He was selling that it was going to be a full-on 35% correction on the S&P 500.
And then we'd go into a deep recession.
Let's look at how things ended up. This is why we don't listen to Jim Cramer. I mean, he's a great reverse indicator.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this thing.
You know, my dad bumped into him, right?
Did he really?
Did I ever tell you that? Yeah.
No way. It's up 21.9% since that crazy crash. Everyone losing their minds. And you know what? If you just bought the dip, you're doing darn good. If you longed the dip on 30x leverage like I did, you're doing great. You're doing really good. You got a lot more dry powder to work with. So, you know what? When it comes to them, you know, they love clicks. I love clicks too. I openly make clickbait.
I know.
But, you know, you got to calm down. And what you say actually matters. Beyond like the thumbnail and the title, what you actually are saying matters quite a bit, Jim. He was literally saying, get out, run away. Black Monday is going to spiral into this chaotic economic standoff. And this is the end. Not so much the case. Not so much the case. And now we have a Kennedy. I think this is John Kennedy talking about Trump's movements with these tariffs and all the trade deals being made yesterday and today.
What do you make of that deal? And what message do you think it sends to the rest of the world? And Scott Besson said 130 countries are lined up.
Well, I think it's obvious. Unless you're the reason that your parents drank, you see that it was a big victory, not just for President Trump, but for America. Before the president did what he did, China's tariffs on the United States were a little over 20% on average. Now they're 10. Our tariffs on China were a little over 20. Now they're 30. That's a 20-point swing. Now, I've listened all day to some of my Democratic colleagues say that, well, we didn't get anything for it. You know, if you believe that, I'm not saying you're the dumbest person in the world, but you better hope the dumbest person in the world doesn't die. It was a clear victory. The other point I would make, I think Trump understands how to deal with China. Look, the Chinese, not the people of China. I'm speaking about the Chinese Communist Party. They're thieves. They steal with both hands. They will steal your socks without taking off your shoes. That's how.
This guy is amazing, bro. Oh my Lord. And you know what? We had a full 20. Let's just break this down. So before the Liberation Day happened and all that chaos broke out, the tariffs, I think it was America. So as it sits right now, after Liberation Day, tariffs of American goods going into China is at 10%. Goods coming out of China to the United States are at 30%. Previous to this, it was goods going from America to China were at 20%. Goods coming from China to America, they were at 10% lower. So we actually had a 20 base point swing, a major win, where we had less payments due to China going into them, and they owed us more sending product out to us. Trump clearly had the upper hand in this movement. And honestly, John Kennedy, just calling it as he sees it. You got to respect the one-liner game on that guy. Absolutely.
I want to grow up and be just like this guy.
Yeah. Trump is still working on peace talks with Ukraine and Russia. He gave some mentions of it. There's no deal yet. He's flying around, and he's also made some mentions of this is his Qatar visit, just more, snapshots and a bunch of respectful meetings with these chic money guys. I mean, these guys hold a lot of value in the planet. I don't think people understand how much value they hold. Now he's getting a lot of flack for receiving a Boeing 747. Let's have a listen to what he's talking about on this airplane controversy.
People say, "Oh, you shouldn't accept gifts for the country." My attitude is, why wouldn't I accept a gift? We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept a gift? Because it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before the Boeings are finished, and they'll be wonderful when they're finished.
He threw some total shade at Boeing with that line. You guys can't get my damn plane done for the next few years. What am I supposed to do? Wait around for it? I'm going to take this gift and be rude not to accept the gift.
Exactly.
So, the left, the media are freaking out about Trump's accepting gifts. It's going to the State Department. It's not his. He's just allowing it to happen. He's the president of the country. You fools. Now, Costco is having to put restrictions on how much gold customers can buy at a time. This panic continues to take over the average person sitting there watching inflation rip them apart. This is why the tools of how to trade, how to know when to buy low and sell high, how to use DeFi are pieces of knowledge that you can continue to use to outpace the inflation with every sector. If you learn charts, if you learn movements of markets and how technology is advancing, you can stay ahead of the beat and you can outpace inflation. But for the average person looking from the outside in, they're just going to work. They're trying to ignore everything going down. This is, they talk about gold. Let's look at gold and how it's done versus Bitcoin. Let's do it. I'm going there. GLD versus BTC. Oh, you son of a gun. Let's see here. Thought I had found it yesterday. No, I had found it yesterday. Maybe it's AU.
Is AU?
No, it's not coming up under there. It's going to zero. It looks like the ICP graph.
Yeah,
is what it looks like.
We've showed it before.
I know. I just had it here. I don't know why it's not coming up here, but if you're trying to say to me that gold is a superior product to Bitcoin, I will put back the fact that the entire economy, communication, and the system of existence, as we know it, is literally moving online. Our banks have moved online. Everything is moving online. Your work is moving online. Even if you're a plumber or a construction person, you're having to communicate online at higher and higher levels each year. And over the next 20 years, guess what? It's going to be some sort of automated system actually doing the action too. So when we see this, and people talk about like gold's going to be the king forever, not only do you have that counterpoint that literally everything is moving online, but also the idea that you can, shave off some Bitcoin if you end up in a civil war and you're going to give a chunk of gold to your neighbor for some food. Honestly, dude, you're kind of kidding yourself. People get desperate in that moment, historically. And it is violence that is the greatest currency in those type times. Uncomfortable truth, but it is what it is. If you boil humans down to those raw, reactive moments, he who can pull the trigger quicker wins. Okay. That's just all there is to it. Let's see if I can find this. XAU BTC. XAU BTC. There it is. That's how I found it. All right. So this is the weekly Bitcoin. This is gold compared to Bitcoin. Okay. And yes, like that run to $3,600, $3,400, that little nub right there did great. But if you look at this thing in general, it is going to zero against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the apex predator. It is King Kong. Look at this shit.
Jesus.
You have to continually hold this down. Bam. Look at this. If you're trying to sell me that gold is a more superior asset than proof of work and energy spent and a secure data in our current time frames, not even close. Not even close. This is the story of gold versus Bitcoin. So when I sit there and listen to people, and a lot of them, they'll speak a big game and they'll know a lot about credit markets and how much printing the Fed has done and how you can save and, outpace inflation with gold. The answer is wrong. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. They will outprint your gold. And also, just wait till they can create gold in a lab, or at least admit that they create gold in a lab. Then what? Crash, right? Then what? So, and I want to talk about all this stuff with this dude, Daniel Diaz. This guy, because he's one of them that knows a lot about the markets and he's got a background in Bitcoin. I was lucky enough, I spoke to him on a space and I had a lot of, questions that I pointed to him. It would be a good kind of gold versus Bitcoin show to have, maybe here or on Discover Crypto. But this mindset, it comes from, in my opinion, I might be wrong, it comes from people that are sitting on assets that were accumulated decades ago, that are sitting in houses that they were purchased for like $50,000. They're sitting in 401ks that started being built decades ago. And I think it kind of plays into, I think it's this Dave, is it Dave Ramsey or what's this guy's name?
I think you might be right.
Let's have a listen to this guy.
Never buy a house on more than a 15-year mortgage.
Okay, I'm going to say it. Dave Ramsey is wrong. In the year 2025, the average house on the market is $350,000. That means your monthly mortgage payment, assuming perfect credit before insurance, utilities, and maintenance, will be just under $3,000 on a 15-year loan. That's not terrible, but Dave also mentions this.
And never buy a house where the payment is more than a fourth of your take-home pay.
Your take-home pay is your pay after taxes, which means to buy the average house in America, you need to earn $12,000 a month after taxes, which turns out to be around $190,000 per year. So, according to Dave Ramsey, to buy the average house in America, you'd need to be in the top 6% of earners. Now, I can already hear you writing in the comments saying the house is too expensive, I'm not using household income, whatever. So, let's just go with the average house in the cheapest state in the United States, Mississippi. Your average Mississippi home goes for $180,000, making your 15-year monthly mortgage payment around $1,600. Again, assuming perfect credit, no utilities, insurance, or maintenance. That puts your take-home pay at $6,400 per month, or an annual salary of $95,000. Even if you're in the median household income of $80,000 per year, you would not be able to afford to live in the cheapest state in the country if you follow Dave Ramsey's advice for buying a home.
I like the little comment at the bottom there. It says it's low-key over for Gen Z. That's funny.
Dude,
he's not wrong.
It's a fight for their lives, for their houses, right? This is a major, major problem for the current generation when they're looking at these $450,000, $500,000 houses.
Yeah.
And, if you have kids, was it like $2,000 a month, per kid for daycare? And you're not only that, here's the scam. And this is where the gold guys get it right. They get a lot of stuff right, is that if they accounted for the inflation the way they did in the 80s in a more truer fashion, our inflation's actually going up by like 10% a year. Right, 10% every single year. In 5 years, you've lost half of your buying power. That's a great mention that Daniel had last night. And I complain about it all the time, but I just got to give him credit because he sees it too. And when we see this, people have to find a escape route. They have to find a way to outpace the inflation. They have to find a way to continue to provide for their family. And, hoping that gold goes from 3,000 to 10,000 over the next few years and getting a 3x simply does not do it. It simply does not do it. So with that being said, another reason why we have to figure this stuff out before robots take our jobs is this thing. This is the Optimus robot from Elon Musk.
Take yo, bitch. 3,000.
It's got dance moves.
I know.
It can dance nicely. Like, very, very interesting to see like the mechanics and the fluidity of these robots and how they're advancing. It's every single month I see a massive, massive leap in these robots' capabilities. This thing is Mr. Take Yo Bitch, right, at the club. And then, when they get home, then she'll realize it's a robot. But when they put little skin suits on these, little shake and jive, Stripper Bot 1000.
That's what I was thinking.
Stripper Bot 1000. Chippendales is not even going to need to hire any humans anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They don't need to be real. Oh man.
All of the Chuck E. Cheese mascots and all those all the mascots are gonna be robots now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And that boy make pizza dough. I'll guarantee you. I guarantee you. Oh man, it can probably beat someone's ass as well. Yeah, we're entering kind of the next 10 years is gonna be like iRobot, basically. So just be cognizant of that. EMP devices are probably going to be a focus of this show moving forward. Handheld. I did find one that Kelly shared with me, but it would fry everything around us. I'm just going to get into kind of guerrilla stuff. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just in case. Okay, just in case. I'm not trying to say it's for sure, but I'd rather have one than not need it than need it and not have one. Oh yeah, give it gain and jump in and say thank you for being an active part of last night's show. Discover Crypto showed up large. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. EMP rounds for a shotgun? That's a great idea.
That's smart.
Is that a thing?
We
need the chat to find if this is real. If they have EMP rounds that can go into a shotgun. Woohoo, boy. Now you're talking about some business right there. It's got to be doable. You can fit a lot of stuff inside a shotgun shell. Come on now. All right. Well, and then I had one more question. I don't remember. It's like if you had $1,000, what would you buy?
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you had to buy this week, and there's like here's the thing: is I don't like top blasting. First of all, we're at a pretty high fear and greed level, 74 on the fear and greed right now. The biggest one's down. I mean, we see dog with hat with a little bit of a haircut, but you can't tell because it's under his hat. Ooh, 93% on the week. Athena. This might be a sneaky little grab on a little momentary downturn. I like Athena. I do like Athena. It's pulled back pretty nice. It's in a zone. It's in a good buy zone. Let's look at the other ones. Never buying World Coin. Let's see here. Pepe. I loves me my Pepe. It's already kind of pumped though. It's already kind of pumped. That the memes kind of give you a foretelling of what's to come for the other ones.
Yeah.
Pepe is probably going to return pretty bigly though. Probably going to return pretty bigly. Let's see here. Aptos at a $5 level. Not a bad sneaky little grab. RWA play here. In a buy zone as well. You're in the red zone. So you're not top blasting. That's great. Let's see here. God, the pain of near.
Yeah, it held $5 forever and then lost it.
The pain of near. You were supposed to be the golden child of AI. And then NVIDIA did away with their AI incubation project. NVIDIA had its conference in March, and you did nothing. You did nothing.
That was your chance to shine, but you didn't do anything.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the whole AI adjacency thing has got to be on people's minds. Like you saw the initial hype of AI was in March of 2024. And those things did like 10Xs or something like that. The last one, no one cared. No one cared. It all went to AI agents. Let's look here. I do like Caspa. Let's check it out. Not a bad spot for Caspa. I was going to be more greedy and try to get like 9 or 7 cents, but you're not too far off that mark. Good. Not too far off that mark. Not top blasting SWE. It's near $4 right now. I like it. Not top blasting it. BitTensor out of that buy zone, and 250 to 350 is a buy zone for BitTensor. Yeah, I mean, I think like the top ones, like the haircuts of the day, I'd be looking at Athena. Be looking at Aptos. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at here. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So just be careful out there, okay? Should we look at Flux? I like the guys behind Flux. I like what they're trying to do. That's at 32 cents. We're getting out of this at like 60 cents. Jeez. What? But it is kind of like that, it's almost like Wormhole. They were covering Wormhole on the DC as well. Yeah, Flux, let's see. I mean, it's fallen pretty hard there. I mean, I definitely think there's upside. How many tokens are out? Circulating almost all of them. Okay. It's just this downward trend line. Like at minimum, it could bounce and hit this like 70-cent mark again, I feel like. Flux recapturing that $2.80 realm, though. It's number 332. I mean, this is a very high risk play. So there's that. Redstone's an interesting play. That's like the Oracle that Securitize was liking, I believe. Does Morphos token unlocks worry you? They're definitely different now. They got like 200 days till the next one or something like that. Let's see here. Price prediction for Athena. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Let's, are we over time a little bit?
Yes.
But we're in kind of like the deep question zone.
Yeah.
All right, here's the deal. We'll keep the Athena price prediction for tomorrow, but let's look at people are asking me if AVAX is still a good buy. So let's go look. Because I know AVAX is like $25. But AVAX to Bitcoin is more so what I'm looking at if we have topped out yet or not, and not even by a long shot on AVAX. I think AVAX still has room to run about another 150, 180% against Bitcoin. And that's against the backdrop of $100,000+ Bitcoin, meaning some pretty big booms. So AVAX, when it's time for me to sell AVAX, it's these things right here. And I did exercise that right in 2023, the end of it. A lot of people thought I was an asshole, thought I was crazy for doing so. It is what it is. I'm not sorry. When I see these altcoins hit these downward trend lines, these historic metrics, you can call me an Indian because I am eating that motherfucker. All right, you guys. I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll look at Athena's price prediction tomorrow for you, Danny. Jay-Z, late, but you made it. Brian Wild, Crypto Stevo, DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, Mr. Veteran Crypto, World War 208, Nick Gurr, Patton McCrotch, Flare. Talking about Flare popping up a bit. Oh, my God. We might have to look at that. XR people love that stuff. And it's probably got way better upside than XRP. So I might want to dig into that. Sufficient enough. Jeff R, Kyle Watts, Lasers, Nate, K Jam, all my peeps. I love and appreciate you guys. And I'll see you on the next episode. Till then, be good.